Governor Keating to kickstart it. You are one of the most well-known politicians in the U.S. Why didn't you run for president?
I was about $30 million short. Well, really, I take every day, as all of us do, or should, at a time, a day at a time. And when I was governor, I was the first Republican. My mother was a Democrat. My grandfather on my mother's side was a Democrat member of Congress and a banker, served one term in the U.S. House during the Depression. He felt there should be a banker on the banking committee of the U.S. House. And that was accomplished, and he didn't run again. Went back to save his town and save his community. That was the culture I was raised in. Dad was on the city commission. He was a Republican. My mother's family were all Democrats. But nonetheless, I was the first Republican governor since the 60s. I was elected in 1994. Oklahoma today is more certainly Republican, but the State House, State Senate, where I served, overwhelmingly Democrat.
But how did it become so Democratic during that time?
Populism in Franklin Roosevelt. Quite truthfully, a agricultural state buffeted during the 30s by the Dust Bowl, the need for farm credit, the need for, in an ag environment, an understanding and a sympathetic government was very, very important. But when I became governor, everybody was kind of puzzled. How do you talk to a Republican? Is there a Republican phrase book? And but during the course of my service, long way around your question, but during my service, I had the Oklahoma State University and Oklahoma University economics departments examine why are we poor. We were 45th in per capita income. Both economics departments came back and said, you don't have right to work, the transportation infrastructure sucks, the kids don't take hard enough courses in school, you have welfare, you tax everything. This is an analysis of the state. When I left office in 8 years, we had moved to 37th in per capita income. Everybody thinks oil and gas are a big thing in Oklahoma. Maybe 7% of the GDP of the state, but it was passing right to work in the Constitution, finishing every town of 10,000 and more by a 4-lane highway to the interstate system, completing all the turnpikes, doing first charter school choice, virtual education online, having tort reform, something had never done before, through a Democrat House and a Democrat Senate. What I wanted to do, looking at my legacy as governor, was I want to heal Oklahoma through the Oklahoma City bombing tragedy. I was governor when that occurred. I wanted to get right to work in the Constitution, which we did do, and I wanted to complete America's last Capitol building. Our Capitol was stopped, its construction in 1917. The Great Dome was not put on because the money went to help create a veterans hospital because it was World War I. The U.S. Capitol, where I lived for 25 years on and off, but the U.S. Capitol is 300 feet from the grass to freedom at the top. Oklahoma's is 261 feet, and I raised all the money privately to finish America's last Capitol building. Well, I knew if I ran for president or if I even worked for George W. Bush, I could never do any of that. And I opted to do the things I felt were important for my state that I loved. And we finished it, and everybody's happy, including the Democrats, I might say.
Governor, newsflash, there is a year coming up called 2020, where you could actually still be president of the United States.
Well, when Jeff Sessions, who was the U.S. attorney with me, he was in Alabama, I was in Oklahoma, and I was chair of the U.S. attorneys when Jeff asked me to come to D.C. and to talk to the president about being FBI director. And to talk to him, I said, Jeff, I'm too old. And he said, oh, no. He said, I'm 2 years younger than you, and the president's about 2 years younger than you, maybe 3 years. He said, you're just right up there. So the Medicare generation, we want to wave the flag and say we really can do something later in life.